Hey everybody, Max Aita here with Team Juggernaut Weightlifting. I am going to give you guys a breakdown today of Alyssa's Guatemala 2019 Pan Am Championships victory and performance overall. Going to explain a little bit of competition mentality, kind of some things we've done differently in training and in competition that have really led to her blossoming as an athlete and doing really, really well at these meets internationally. But before I get into exactly what we did differently, let's hear from Alyssa about her weight cut going into this competition.
So the weight cut for Pan Am's was probably oh gosh, I don't want to say this because at the time it never feels easy, but it was probably the easiest weight cut that I have done yet. And that's because we had a lot of things controlled. We had the sauna that was very controlled. It was a portable sauna that Max brought, and the temperature was able to be 110 to like 120 the entire time. It was pretty terrible. I was basically in this like little box the whole time that just zipped up, and I felt like I was a little child that was getting in trouble in a very, very hot room that was terrible to sit in. We had that controlled, and then on top of that, I was able to stay in my hotel room the entire time, so I was very comfortable. And I spit too with Mentos, so I use it to salivate the fruity Mentos, and I spit into a cup to lose more water weight. So I felt like the weight cut was pretty great this time overall. I have been experimenting with weighing heavier, as in like 54.5 to 53.5. I think a lot of people are surprised by that because normally a 49 kilo weightlifter would not sit at the next weight class up, or a weightlifter period. But I did, and I love the feeling of staying heavy as long as possible. I am able to get more reps and sets in overall, and I feel good. I get to eat more food, and I can't complain. It was, I think it was the best weight cut, mentally and physically. Afterwards, actually, after I had weighed in, I felt pretty crappy. I was leaning on the table, and I actually thought at that moment I had ruined everything. I had ruined the whole entire possibility of me becoming the 2019 Pan Am champion and doing 107 clean and jerk, because I felt like I was going to throw up. I felt like I was going to pass out. I felt like I had like no vision. I felt like my vision was in and out, and I felt like it was just, the room was just spinning. It felt pretty foggy. So after the final weigh-ins, I just thought everything was just downhill. But I laid down, I sat around, and I said, you know what? Here's one thing you can do right now, Miss Ritchey, is you can either sit here and complain the whole time and be upset about like how you feel, or you can just suck it up, get up, and start moving around and be fine with it. So I turned up some Ariana Grande's new CD and started dancing, and that is when everything just kind of fell into place, and I was super excited to compete. All right, my reaction to the Snatch. So training leading up to the Snatch, the entire training cycle, my Snatch was terrible. I felt it was terrible. Max and I have different thoughts, but I thought it was pretty horrible. The beginning, it was off. Like technically it was off. It just wasn't flowing well. Everything was just wrong. And then in the middle of the training cycle, it was getting a little better, but still like we were trying to like figure out why I wasn't moving right. Things were off. My feet were too close. They were too far apart. I was pulling too soon, or I was losing the bar behind me. I was having press outs. Like everything that you could possibly go wrong with the Snatch went wrong for me this training cycle. It was actually, in my opinion, the worst training cycle I've ever had at the Snatch. I was not comfortable with it. I was not confident with it. I literally was terrified of it. Probably a few weeks out from Pan Am's, I was starting to get very nervous. We had a really good training camp out in Oakland, California at Max's gym. And it was wonderful because I hit an 82 kilo snatch, but everything, I was catching the snatch and I was like sinking back into the lift. So I had to like, my hips weren't stabilized. They weren't tight on the catch. It was just off. Everything was off. So I hit 82, like I said. It was great, but it was still really wonky feeling. Everything was kind of off, and that's when Max was like, okay, let's just call it. The last training day, just to hit my openers for the snatch, I had missed a 75 kilo snatch, which was wonderful. That's sarcasm. It was terrible. I hit it and I completely lost it forward, and I was like, great, this is wonderful because this is gonna go great. And anyways, so I ended up having to, I worked up to like 76, I think, and I kept missing it like twice. And then I text Max and I was like, nothing is going right with the snatch, like nothing. I'm feeling very unconfident. And he said, do you feel like, he said, work back, unload the bar, start over. And I was like, okay, I just snatched for an hour. You want me to start over? And he's like, yes. So I did, because I listened. And I did. I started over and it went so much better. I worked up to 78. I pressed out the first 78. It was a nice like little elbow press. I just pulled it too soon. And then at the second 78, I caught it beautifully, and that was when Max was like, okay, you can be done. He's like, you're strong enough. You just are off with your technique. Surprise, surprise. I went for 80 and crushed myself. And that's when I was like, all right, I need to be done. So I worked down back at 75, a few reps, got a few reps at 75, felt comfortable, and moved on. Basically, with the snatch performance at Pan Am's, I was very, 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 very happy with it. At first, I didn't think 78 was going to be something I could do. But once I changed my mindset when I got into that back room, I gave myself an ultimatum. I said, you can sit here and you can feel sorry for yourself about how the training cycle went with Snatch, or you can sit here and know that you're going to be the champion of the Snatch and just believe it right now, right here. Before you even walk on that stage, you got to believe it. And I did. I believed every second of it, and I didn't hold anything back. I went out there and ripped that frickin' bar off the floor and caught every rep like my life depended on it. Because it did. I wanted that gold medal. And yeah, I'm pretty shocked with my snatch performance. I got a gold in it. And I didn't think I was going to win gold in snatch. I thought second, but I didn't think gold. So that was cool. My reaction for the clean and jerk. I think everybody is going to be disappointed in this answer. When I went out for the clean and jerk, I was really pumped. Excited. My warm-ups in the back were killer. I was making every lift. It was super easy. I knew when I went up to hit 101 for my opener, I was like, I got this. This is like no problem. And I did. Got it, no problem. 104 was a bit on my toes, but it was the easiest lift out of all of them. Out of 101, 104 was the easiest, and out of 107. I don't know, something about like the catch in the bottom. I was able to rebound right out. I caught it and rebounded right out of the bottom. So it was a super easy lift. And the jerk, 104 jerk's a joke for me. So it was really good and solid. As for the 107, I think I had already known, this is going to sound really like cocky, but it's not cocky. It's just, I just believed in myself enough to know that I've already made it before I even stepped on the stage. Because 6 weeks out from Pan Am's, I had been catching myself before I fall asleep at night, visualizing every single lift that I want to hit, visualizing a 110 clean and jerk, visualizing an 85 or 84 kilo snatch, visualizing it every night until I just drifted off into a deep sleep. I visualized myself walking on the stage, grabbing the bar, setting up, and making the lift, smiling and celebrating just like I smiled and celebrated at Pan Am's. And when I went out for 107, it was, I went up, when I hit the lift, not like in my dreams, when I really went up to the 107, I had already known I was going to make the lift. I was already confident. I already believed in myself so much that I had already made the lift in my mind. So to go out there and hit 107, it was super exciting and a huge turning point for my career because, like I said, a million times, like the sky's the limit. But I mean, my reaction obviously told you that I absolutely loved and was so excited about 107, so pumped. But at the same time, I think my 105 shocked me more at American Open Finals than my 107, because in my mind I already know I made 107, and I know that I'm ready for 110. 112, actually. So I'm excited. This year is going to be a stinking celebration and a freaking stellar year. I cannot wait for Worlds. It's going to be awesome. Cool. I can't wait. I freaking can't wait.
This was Alyssa's third Pan Am Championship. And, you know, the main thing we went into this meet with was the idea that we're going to have no fear of failure. We went into this with the idea that we're going in trying to win, not trying to not lose. One thing I want to point out here, we opened at 78. That's pretty heavy for Alyssa, you know, considering what she's done in the past internationally. And, you know, obviously a lot of factors going into what we can do now. We know a lot more about how she responds to training. We have way better training programming. You know, she cut weight beautifully. Everything was perfect going into this. So, you know, before we even went into the meet, we had a plan of 78, 81, 83, 101, 104, 107. Those were the actual numbers we had picked a few weeks out. And, you know, that 78 was great. This is kind of, you know, my moment of losing my shit, where I didn't know if she was going to make this 81. You know, you can watch it and you can see how she goes for it. Great pull, and then that rocking backward. And, you know, if you freeze this second here, and you see my expression, if you were to you know, my heart rate is about 12,000 beats a second here. I'm freaking out. No, don't drop it. But, you know, I think primarily the fact that she's, one, done a lot better in training, but two, the weight cut doesn't destroy her. You know, it doesn't eat into her energy. She recovers from it really well. It gives her the ability to react quickly, makes the correction, and saves it. And that was like the heart-stopping moment for me. So we're sitting in a great place, 81 on the board. 83 was the next goal. You know, we went for this because we knew it would be great for building Robies. This meet was so important for us to make Robie points. And, you know, 83 would also give us a place where we're first in the Snatch, and force the Dominican girl up to 85 or 84 at least, if she wants a medal, and she didn't make them. You know, obviously you can see the one red light. That was really primarily just from that little elbow bobble there, and probably not a bad call, but we lucked out, you know, and made that. So that's an area for us to improve on, obviously. The clean and jerks were a different story. This was a very different kind of training for us. We went into this. 101 was the heaviest lift she's ever done in competition, and as an opener, just awesome. You know, such an easy lift for her. That lift is like a no-brainer. Doesn't require much thought at all for her now, which is awesome. 104, this is great because we gave ourselves a chance here with this 104 to really like bump our total up to what we had done at AO Finals, which would have been 185. And it was super important for us to at least match that so we can keep those Robie points moving up from from Worlds 2018. But, you know, 104 represents just under her PR, so it's a great second attempt for us. You can see how confident she was, how strong that lift was. Just flawless technique for her receiving position and standing compared to what we have in the past. So one thing to kind of point out here before this 107 was that overall in training, it was way different for us going into this meet. We had increased the average barbell weight by a few kilos, almost 5 kilos for her. And that's a huge amount in the clean jerk. It's a huge amount for one lift. It was mostly accomplished by doing a lot more front squat and jerk, or doing a lot more exercises that she really hadn't touched in a while. Things like hang cleans, some complexes, but nothing really dramatic, nothing radical, just a better execution of the plan and the methodology that we have, that we've had for everything before this. So, you know, this 107 represents a lift that I think is a result of a lot of great choices made weeks and months beforehand. And so this was super cool to see. I was, obviously you can see in the video, I was losing my shit. Super exciting. I mean, this was something she'd never even touched really off the ground. That moment where you're not sure if she's gonna get up or she grinds through. That was awesome. That was a huge deal. So, just really, really awesome to make that, and couldn't ask for any more. Obviously, she loses her mind. I'm giving Piros the big bear hug. I'm just freaking out. 6 for 6 day. She's never done that before. To walk away from a meet like this with the increase of 12 kilograms on your international total and a 5 kilo all-time PR, you can't ask for more than that, and I can't ask for more than that from her either. So super awesome. I was just fucking excited. I couldn't even believe how good that was. It's like a dream, you go 6 for 6 and everything works great, and you're just sitting there like, what else can we do? What else can we do? I should have bought a lottery ticket at the end of that. Super awesome, and just a fantastic competition.